And it's a very, very good question, Neat. It's an excellent question. You first have to embrace the fact that there is a difference. Okay? You do have to embrace the fact you can't just LARP and pretend to be you're from the countryside. You have to acknowledge the fact that there is a contradiction, there is a difference between the polity and the countryside, and that you're inevitably going to embody this contradiction in a sense yourself. Even the Maoists during the Chinese Civil War oftentimes would be accused of being too, too advanced in a sense, too futuristic, too modern, But they were also paradoxically also accused of being too backward. So that's how you know you've hit the sweet spot. And the Bolsheviks were the exact same way. The Bolsheviks were on the one hand too modern and too new and too futuristic, and on the other hand they were too backward and too vulgar and so on and so on. That's the sweet spot. But the way you speak to people in the countryside is also, don't assume, distill the essence of their situation. And the essence is going to come at the expense of the appearance. And what I mean by that basically is that don't pander to them, but speak to the common object of their striving. Give form and speak to the people of the countryside what they know intuitively but don't know maybe culturally or intellectually, even obviously. Name something that they know and understand in their hearts, but they don't have the words to describe. That's what I mean. Speak a language that they understand, but never had the words to make sense of. And this is how you can speak to people from the countryside without pandering. Yes, you are coming from somewhere else. You can't just pretend to be one of them. You have to work with them. You have to gain their trust on this basis. We Marxists are inevitably going to be intellectuals. There's no way around that. We are people who read a lot, and we concern ourselves with very abstract things that are far from being relevant at a directly practical level. That is inevitable. But you have to distinguish yourself from the metropolitan intellectuals similar to you in entering into a dialogue and mutual engagement with the majority of the people in your country, in your polity, as I like to say. People in the countryside will not care for bullshit. Be honest and forthcoming, but also let them know what you're fighting for and how it will benefit them while building on the common house. I think the important thing is don't disguise who you are. And that's why I'm wondering, guys, I wonder if the CPUSA can be revived. Because why not just admit we're the good old communists? They're going to call the left communists either way. There's no way around that. There's no way around the fact that the enemy is going to call you that. But at least the CPUSA has tradition in this country. I don't like the politics of the CPUSA, and I don't like its leaders, and I don't like their positions. But I like the brand, and I'm interested in the brand. It's a very national, American, rooted in, it has a tradition, it has name recognition. So I wonder if the CPUSA might have some kind of future. You can't disguise where you're coming from. Yes, we're communists, but maybe you can show the people what it means to be a communist. Lead by example. Don't worry about the fact that they're going to label you a demon. Maybe show them what a demon can do. Show them what it means to be this kind of demon, and they'll change what they think about it. And that's why my biggest advice to you guys, if you're living in these communities at least, or you're engaging them in somehow, is that what you need to do, what you need to do is lead, teach by example. If you want people to know what communism is, be a community leader. Help the people in your community. Use what little, it might be the smallest ounce of privilege you have that allows you to have the free time to care about all this abstract stuff. Use that to help the people in their basic everyday lives, gain their trust, and then they can say, well, hell, if that's a communist, I'm a communist too. Mm-hmm. Who cares about the label, right? Mm-hmm. Evan brought up in the past that this is what people in the black community were saying about the Panthers. You remember what you said?
Yeah, exactly. They were talking about the fact people would come up and say, "Oh, they're a socialist organization." They say they feed my kids. That's socialism, and we go to the hospital. We have healthcare. That's so okay. And yeah, we're Panthers. We're socialists. It's simple.
It's as simple as that, guys. The labels don't matter. What they mean concretely is what matters. You can call yourself a communist, but you should show them what that actually means.
Hmm.
Don't worry about whatever thing they have in their head that they think of it.
Yeah,
And I
because at the end of the day, it comes down to action. Like
yeah.
you said, the rest is just chit chat.
Yeah. Don't tell people, oh, you don't know what communism is. Communism is actually a moneyless, classless society. It's a really popular meme, but it's meaningless. Don't explain all these. You don't have to worry about that stuff. Be a good person. Be an effective leader, and they'll care about what communism is when they see that. They'll see how they'll see how the deeper harmony makes sense, and it'll even open their eyes to history. They'll say, I can see what this person is doing for my community, for my people, what these communists in the past were doing the same thing for their people. It'll completely open up their horizons. You won't have to educate people on this theoretical level if you're an effective and good leader.